I'm starting recording and we are doing it. We are loading the game, Lamar Night 6, and we go. And that's another thing that I do. I actually record all of my playthroughs now and I put them on YouTube. Turn Outish wrote Game of Thrones. Dude, when I was a kid, that's true story, I wrote a very silly, a very bad short story about people trapped under a dome. And guess what? 3 years later, Stephen King writes exactly the same story about people trapped under the dome, and I got so mad. Like, give me my money, dude. Okay. Like, actually. The only difference was that mine was in like sci-fi setting and it was in space. Like on some planet, not on Earth. But the premise was basically the same. Not long after you wake up tonight, Gregory knocks on the door of your apartment. Hey, I came to pick you up. Miss Langley wants to see you. Do you know what she needs me for? What if I don't want to see her? Well, my freedom was good while it lasted. Do you know what she needs me for? About you writing a book that is such a great endeavor. I have actually a couple ideas. One is sci-fi kind of like alien book, alien inspired book. About a team of people, I don't want to spoil it, but one is like cyberpunk alien horror kind of story, and second one is like very gritty, bloody fantasy thing. I would like to be a Polish Brandon Sanderson. Like basically, Ishk is Polish Brandon Sanderson, guys. Any ideas what she needs me for? I'm not in the position to ask. He smiles politely. The car's waiting, shall we? You wrestle with the same thought as a few nights ago. Maybe you should just leave, disappear. Let's see if you find somebody else to employ. But then you remember the Anarch tag being cut down by Kadir and how close you were to the same fate not even a week ago, and that it might still happen if you step out of line. You follow suit. As with your previous visit here, Sophie seems not entirely present when you enter. Her eyes are locked onto one of the paintings in the room. You're pretty sure it was here earlier, but she's behaving as if she's seeing it for the first time in her life, entirely entranced. You have to do the audiobook version, well, the ASMR voice. Oh my god. You make me blush. Gregor clears his throat. Sophie turns to the both of you a bit of irritation in her countenance that soon gives way to pleasant warm smile. You're here, excellent, thank you, Gregory. Her driver leaves and she turns her attention to you. I hope you had a good few nights and made some new friends, but I have to say, I'm happy to see you, Lamar. Thank you for coming. The change in mood of the room is so sudden and startling. It makes you consider the true power of vampire charisma. Rationally, you know you're being manipulated, but you don't even care. So the thing is that I know that my English accent sucks, and my English sucks, and some of the words I have never seen in my life, or I have never, like, I have seen them, but I have never spoke them, said them out loud. So sometimes I struggle with reading all of that, but it's fine. It's like exercise. Her eyes, her motions, her entire body language all feel 100% genuine in expressing legitimate interest in you and your well-being. Actually, reading so fast in second or third language is quite a skill, guys, so be impressed. Be impressed. And understanding what you're reading, that's also important. I have a request for you this night. I need you to find somebody for me and make a delivery. Sure. She points to the statue at the side of the room. You notice a plain-looking flash drive lying on the edge where the inanimate archer's bow touches the pedestal. Oh, we can actually see that on the screen, on the painting. That's cool. The man you'll be looking for calls himself Kaiser. He has eyes, which in German means Caesar. He has eyes and ears all over New York, and it's rare for something to happen here without his knowledge. Dude, your English is really good. You do realize it's better than most people that live in the US, right? Well, if you compare me to like, I don't know, like hillbillies in somewhere in Texas or something, then maybe. I'll need you to take this flash drive and bring it to him. Also, when you are in Europe, you are learning the like British English, I guess. So maybe that's why. I'll need you to take this flash drive and bring it to him. In exchange, he will give you an address, which I need to know as soon as possible. You're about to ask what's on the drive, but Sophie proves to be one step ahead of you. Oh, don't worry about the contents. They are encrypted, a precaution for it. For if the data falls into the wrong hands, but it won't, correct? No, dude, hillbillies have their own language, no idea what it is, but it's definitely not English. Well, she gives you a smile that just a handful of nights ago would make you feel melting. Like melting. Oh, Lamar, Kaiser is a Nosferatu that twisted the formed lineage of kindred. He is old and his age has made him even more paranoid than others of this clan tend to be. He holds many heavens and changes them often. From what I've gathered, he or one of his servants should be found at the park on Coney Island tonight. You'll have to identify them somehow. I'm told Kaiser has spent many of his nights these past few years being driven around the city in black limo. Maybe keep an eye out for it. Sure. That smile again, but much shorter. Why do you need to trade with Kaiser? Why don't you look for Kaiser yourself? Anything more? He's been here a long time, about as long as I have. He got into a lot of trouble for exchanging information with both the Anarchs and the Camarilla in the past, but ultimately got off scot-free. Kaiser's weapon of information proved to be strong enough to shield him from the consequences of playing both sides. Some say that's the best proof of his abilities. In any case, be careful when talking to him. He's very particular about everyone's etiquette except his own. Good night and good luck. Coney Island? Interesting, this is New York. Coney Island is a place where the first roller coaster was built. And it was a wooden roller coaster. Do you guys know that roller coasters were made because some guy was delivering coal from top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain to New York, actually, I think. And when he was driving down, he's like, this is kind of fun. So he started selling tickets to like rich New Yorkers or something like that. She flashes one last smile at you and turns back to the painting. Clearly done with the conversation, you pocket the flash drive and head out toward Coney Island. It takes you the better part of an hour to reach the lights and sound of the Coney Island amusement park from the city. The drive is almost pleasant this time of night. Thank God for Belt Parkway. There are plenty of people here tonight, but nobody who stands out as a traveling purveyor of secrets. Then again, if they did stand out, it would be a kind of pointless, right? Right. How dare you rob my people of their due credit with roller coasters? The world's oldest roller coaster, Russian mountains, which were specially constructed hills of snow. Oh my god, Red Sea, I'm so sorry. Mikey, what about you? How's your day? Any plans for the weekend, guys? I read it on the internet, so it must be true. So let's say first American roller coaster was made in that way. Nothing to do but figure out the right approach. Open your senses. You take a moment to focus and try to pick up on any details that would help you with locating Kaiser. Initially, the noise from the nearby amusement park floods your mind and momentarily stuns you. A child's crying, the loud bang of car door closing, the bright old-school logo of the Cyclone roller coaster all overload your senses, and you have to lean on a nearby booth to stay upright. You regain control, start walking, listening in, talking into sights and smells, looking for something, anything to point you in the right direction. A man talking on his phone, a snippet of conversation. Cleaned the red stuff from the garage, tied up in general, the limo fit for sure. Come on, don't be like that, boss. I didn't mean to. Yes, I know, I am. It's a privilege, Mr. Kaiser. The call ends. The man tucks the phone away. It's a fancy model, doesn't look like anything readily available on the market, and doesn't fit the guy's rugged look at all. He notices you. Hey, what you looking at, huh? I'm out of bourbon, so weekends are useless. Might play some games. I found an amazing board game that my wife... wait a second, what? And I enjoy playing. What's the board game? I bought a bottle of Proper 12. It's a whiskey signed by Conor McGregor, that fighter that everyone loves, that Irish guy, and apparently it's really good. I haven't opened it yet, but it's soon. It's happening. Any chance Mr. K stands for Kaiser? Nah, it stands for clearly lying isn't his forte. Fuck off. Neither are comebacks, it would seem. Tell him Sophie sent you. Listen, I was sent here by Sophie Langley. She has something for Kaiser. I need to contact him and hand it over. Nothing more to it. Don't know her, and I told you already I don't know who Kaiser is either. He sees the doubt in your face. Fuck it, stay right here. He produces his phone, it's a fancy model, doesn't look like anything really available on the market. I know, like we have seen his phone already. Sorry to bother you again, boss. Yeah, I know how much you need your alone time, but that sounds very nice. There's somebody here who wants to see you. There with Langley? Sophie Langley? Yeah. A string of loud obscenities fill the phone. The man winces and pushes it away from his ear, and then the call stops. Almost immediately, a chime, the Count's laugh from Sesame Street, wow, announces a new message sent to the phone. He's on his way, don't go anywhere. Dominations is like really abstracted version of Civilization in a board game form with some elements of dominoes, hence the name Dominations. There is no combat but lots of strategy. Oh, that sounds super fun. Chalion says, plan for the weekend is probably more writing. That sounds amazing, Chalion. Do it. Do it. Finish the book. Make them nice ebook form, like nice collection, you know. Sell them for $5. This is what the Martian guy and the Weird was doing. He just published it on Amazon for $5, and some publishing house was like, oh my god, this is amazing. So do that. Become famous. I love like German style resource management games. That's the favorite type of games that we are playing with my friends. I have a game called Concordia, which is very cool. I recommend that one. But one of my favorite board games ever is Arkham Horror. It's like the best one. My friends are really into strategy games. I'm more into... I will write it in the chat for you, because maybe I said it. That's the title of the game. Because I like team of people versus the board kind of style of board games. The inside of the limo used to be a luxury lounge, the kind with a stripper pole and a bar full of alcohol, but it currently has none of that. Instead, there are monitors and consoles. There are dozens of displays, each one showing something different: surveillance camera footage, stock market quotes, television news, emails, tweets, silent movies, lo-fi footage of a gory torture session. You wonder if the limo's owner can focus on anything while surrounded by all of this visual noise, and then realize there's nobody there, or is there? A man blinks into existence on a leather-covered couch, attempting to maintain something that approximates a regal presence. You're 100% sure it's Kaiser. Surrounded by dimly lit computer screens, his features are even more ghastly than you imagined. All sharp angles of twisted bone, mangled flesh, and crooked teeth. He bears them in an awful parody of a smile. The door closes behind you. Ooh, hello. Project Winter. It's a Steam game, but sounds like you might enjoy it. To find a group of people to play Project Winter with, though, the game looks like so much fun, but you need 5 people at least. I have seen like screenshots and logo, but I have no idea what's the game about. So the waste of good blood outside tells me Sophie Langley sent you, You've got something for me? You reluctantly pull the flash drive from your pocket and slowly pass it to Kaiser. He plugs it into your USB port on the arm of his chair and displays the data on one of the screens that happen to be turned away from you. It takes him about a minute to access the data. Who do you people think I am? I saw this footage a week ago. He removes the flash drive and throws it back at you in disgust. Tells Sophie that deal's off. She wants her address. She can give me something else. Ooh, for some reason I can't do this. I'm curious why. So the game tells you that if you are closer to your beast, and you are closer to your beast when you are not eating and drinking blood, then you will have more options. So maybe that's why. He's like, look at him. He's an old guy. He's an old vampire. He's like Langley level of a vampire, and I am newbie. How can I use my presence on him? He will get mad and he will kill me. So I'm going with the normal version. Come on, give me a break. How could we have known that you've already seen the material? He gives you a patronizing look. Kid, you're new here, so I'll pretend I didn't hear that. You want your address? You're gonna have to work for it. I have just the idea. Yeah, something appropriate for an eager fledgling like yourself. More on that soon, stay tuned. Now get the fuck out. I could do it, but the year timing is off for most of the books. What do you mean, year timing? Here is a basic and terrible synopsis. You have a group of survivors trapped in a tundra trying to escape. To do so, you must complete task repairs, etc. However, on you randomly as a traitor. There is a board game like that. Have you played that one? Oh my god, it's called Dead Winter. No, I mean Secret Hitler is amazing as well, but Dead Winter I think is the title of a board game, and it's basically The Walking Dead during winter time, and each of the characters has a goal, like personal goal, and one guy is a traitor. We have it, and it's amazing, and we love to play it. It's like really good, and definitely a game for like 4 or 5 people. But it's great. It's so good. You're pretty sure you're done here. You get out, close the door behind you, and the car immediately starts backing up. The opaque windows slide past you, and soon the limo is on its way. I'm so distracted today. Like my reading ability is so low today. Like book 1, 2 is 327, book 3 is 316, book 4 is 300, book 5 is in the calendar I have. Oh, you mean like the in-book time. I see. Can you like put them in chronological order or something? I don't know. Still, you can publish them together, like it doesn't matter really. Kaiser's Lucky is nowhere to be seen, so you make your way to your car and drive back wondering what tomorrow brings. It makes not much sense. Let's rest. Okay, my day is over. You're walking down the street towards your heaven. In some other town, the sidewalks would be deserted this time of night. In New York City, there are plenty of passersby going about their business. It's easy to be paranoid when you're a vampire surrounded by a crowd of humans. The kindred have many enemies, and all of those enemies have one trait in common. They're invisible, indistinguishable from normal humanity. Other vampires, hunters, all look like people. Is that old man just a tired restaurant worker or a kindred thrall trailing your movements? Are the officers idly waiting in a patrol car ordinary cops or second inquisition specialists looking to end undead threats? This kind of thinking leads to madness, but you can't shake the feeling that someone is watching you. It's not the first time you felt like this. Following the queue of so many mortals around you, you stop at a street corner to casually survey your surroundings, as if you were trying to remember which turn to take. I'll use you. You can use me, Chalion, sure. You look around, ostensibly? Who says ostensibly? At street signs, but in reality to see if someone really is following you. Down the street where you came from, a crowd of young drunk men argue loudly about baseball. There's an indistinct figure standing behind them, almost impossible to notice. A woman, probably. The men unconsciously move around her as they start to walk away, still mouthing of each other. Whatever this is, it's probably something you have to take care of. Best case, someone is tailing you. Worst case, you'll be attacked and killed. Unfortunately, being undead has its limitations. The sun is coming up soon and you'll burn to a crisp if you stay on the streets. You reach your heaven and settle in for the day, disconcerted by the idea that someone might know where you sleep. Bump. Next day. As you wake up from your slumber and emerge from your heaven for the night, you notice a familiar face on the other side of the street, standing on the corner and looking straight at you. It's Kaiser Slacky, whom you met recently, Jackie. He nods to you, encouraging you to approach. His hands are outside of his pockets, and he seems pretty relaxed. He's keeping his eyes on the street, though, as if making sure you're alone. He smiles awkwardly when you approach. Evening, he got something for you from our mutual friend. He produces a crumpled piece of paper from his jacket pocket and hands it to you. Read it, memorize it, then give it back here. It's a letter. The paper might be just a page ripped out of a spiral notebook, but the writing on it is exquisitely detailed and deliberate. It reads, "Time to square your debt with me. Go to the wine shop at 232 Mulberry Street and ask for 1821 Special Reserve Donatello Negromaro. Donatello Negromaro. When they tell you they don't have it, say you are fedele servitore della famiglia G." What? Fedele servitore della famiglia G. With those exact fucking words, and make sure you get the G right. You'll get a bottle, just take it and leave by saying grazie. Grazie. Don't ask how much it is or anything else, just walk out. When you have it, come back to the Jackie boy here and let him know. You done, memorize that shit and hand it over. Ishk's Italian. Pronto. I don't know if pronto is Italian actually. Letters, passwords, what's with all this cloak and dagger nonsense? I have been in Italy for a week and it was amazing. I want to go again. Flimbly is here. Hey Flimbly. Happy New Year! How are you doing, Flimbly? How was your stream? That's how the boss likes it, and who I'm to argue, I just do what he says. You about done with the letter? You note the phrases and address mentioned in the letter, then hand it back to Jackie. He immediately reaches for a lighter and burns the letter, putting out to the ashes with his boot. So yeah, when you do what the boss asks, come back here so I can tell you where to go next. Doing some progress. I was lurking most of the time because I was finishing some work, and I was also talking to some people on the Discord. But I enjoyed what I have seen. Good time. Thank you for streaming, Flimbly. You're amazing. Worky work. I always do worky work. But I will be streaming more in May because Grandma is not here. She is back from the hospital and she's fine for now. But she is staying with my parents indefinitely, so I am alone. Which means I will be able to stream earlier and more often and more regular, so I'm excited about that. Nice. Nice. I have good mood, guys, today. Thank you for being here. So find me when you have the item, whatever it is. I don't know, and the boss made it extra clear that I shouldn't curse, so I don't. See ya. He shuffles away and leaves you to pursue the lead from the letter. Time to pay a visit to Norita. You arrive at the address mentioned in the note. Not counting local restaurants' patrons, the street is mostly empty at this time of night, but curiously, the wine shop is still open. Inside, a small middle-aged woman with curly hair stands behind the counter in the front of a wall filled with wine bottles. There's a door at the back of the room with a small table and a chair occupied by a man in a black fox leather jacket with sleek, combed-back hair. He's reading a newspaper but pauses as a little bell rings when you open the door. He takes a sip from a small, steaming cup, then gets back to his broadsheet. Good evening. How can I help you? Chat her up, be direct. I am going to be very direct. I would like a bottle of the 1821 Special Reserve Donatello Negromaro, please. Let me check our stock. She seems to be looking through a database on the laptop sitting. He didn't say the G! He didn't say the G! Dude! I'm afraid we don't have that one at the moment, sorry. Oh, wait a second. Why they are making me mess up the quest? Come on. Oh, okay. There's the G. Sorry, I got excited. I remembered that G and there's the G. In that case, let me see if we have any in the back. Wait, here please. The woman leaves the counter and goes through the door in the back. The man by the table puts down his newspaper and takes another sip from the cup, washing it down with a gulp of water from the nearby glass. He tries to hide it, but there's no doubt he's watching you. About a minute passes. Remain silent. Patiently waiting for the woman to return from the back of the store, the man finishes his drink and starts doodling on the newspaper, his eyes darting to you ever so often. The doors to the back of the store open and the proprietor emerges with a small unlabeled squat bottle of crimson liquid. She gives you an apologetic smile. Oh, that's how you get the blood. Nice. Excuse me, sorry for taking so long. Turns out we did have it. She offers you the bottle and you reach out to grab it, but she retracts it. He interested in you? Sure. Everyone. You do know what this is, don't you? You focus your blood and immediately see both of the people in the shop focus intently in you and what you're about to say. I know exactly what it is and I'm the right person to give it to. The woman gives you the bottle without hesitation. Grazie. Deciding you've pushed your luck far enough, you nod and exit the store, then take a brisk walk to your car. Nobody follows you as you leave Nolita and drive back to your apartment. Chelion, everyone is interested in me, okay? It takes you some time to find a parking spot, but you finally get out of the car and start looking for Jackie. He's not far from where you parted ways just under 2 hours ago. Got the goods? Sure do. Stand by, gotta make the call. We all want a piece of fish. Oh my god, guys. He takes a few more steps into a narrow space between two buildings and takes out the same high-tech phone you saw him carrying last time. Hey boss. Flimbley. Yeah, they have it. Where do I point them to? Okay, yeah, I'll tell them to go the right way. He puts the phone back in his pocket and turns back to you. Willet's point, half an hour, so you better step on it. See you. With only a flippant salute, Jackie starts walking down the street. You make your way back to the car and drive. You had to push the speed limit to make it on time, but you're here. Willet's Point is quite a change of scenery. The place is a post-industrial dump, the nearby stadium notwithstanding. You stop your car once you realize that if you go any further down, the potholes will kill your chassis. You step out in one of those gashes in the asphalt, splashing in the ankle-deep water. Kaiser's limo is nowhere to be seen. In fact, the whole place is pretty much deserted, other than the apparent proprietor of a lonely bar, a middle-aged woman who's just locking the place up. Feeding opportunity, guys. I think we are doing it. I think we are feeding on her. Bump. This is too perfect an opportunity to not take advantage of. She's walking to her car, ready to call it a night. When you sneak up on her, she's far too tired to resist your strong hold and swift bite. Not eating an old man. You can taste the caffeine in her veins, smell the cheap cigarettes in her hair, the old cooking grease in her clothes. She passes out, your assault the closing note of a long day at work. You let her down gently and feel a pang of remorse. You pick up the car keys she dropped and places her in the driver's seat. She'll find an explanation for passing out like this for sure. The bright lights of a car pulling over down the road illuminate you as you close the door. It's a black limo. Kaiser is finally here, it would seem. Same as last time, the car doors open but nobody comes out. You know the drill. This time Kaiser is visible when you look inside. You sit down and close the door behind you. So you pulled it off without a hitch, then give it here. You hand the bottle over to the Nosferatu. He uncorks it, gently takes a whiff and puts the cork back in. Yeah, that's the stuff. See, that wasn't so hard. Consider your debt paid. Oh yeah, and also take this. It's what Langley wanted. He passes you an envelope with what feels like a thick card inside. Thank you, Mr. Kaiser. Yeah, I'll send Jackie over if I ever need anything else from you. How about that? Time for you to get out now. Okay, bye. He waves you out of his car, with the envelope in hand, and you get out back onto the torn asphalt in the crypt surroundings. The limo slowly drives away. Finally, you can return to Sophie and bring her what she wanted. Gregor lets you in, you hear a shrill, unpleasant laugh, and you realize Sophie's having a guest over. Ooh, who's that? He's the man from Elysium, the one with the glasses and good taste in suits. You didn't have the chance to talk to him last you saw him. Ah, Lamar, so glad to see you. Tell me, did the two of you previously meet? The man doesn't wait for your answer. He approaches you with an energetic, almost dance-like step and puts out his hand. Thomas Arturo, I've heard about you. Pleasure, pleasure. Thomas is a great source of gossip and excellent conversationalist. I also have the prince's ear, which is the primary reason dear Miss Langley wished to speak to me tonight. Good gossip, even coming from me, isn't nearly as valued. Sad. Sophie is taken aback by the man's direct comment, but smiles politely. The awkward atmosphere is broken again by the guest's grunting laugh. I kid, of course. Endless with the giant massive host. Hi Endless, how are you? Thank you so much, sir. Good to see you. I hope you are doing great. I kid, of course, I kid. Well, I was about to leave anyway, so I leave you two to it. Good night, Sophie Lamar. Greggy boy. Greggy boy. You kid. Why I'd never. What? Sophie's driver opens the door for Arturo and the guest steps out with a single wave of the hand towards his host until the door closes. He's quite the character, isn't he? It's a night, okay? Okay. How are you doing? Yes, quite, but he has his uses. Thomas has clout in a court and access to many juicy details. Juicy. Everyone from the prince to the lowest primogen. It's useful to have him on your side, even if his eccentricity requires some patience. Speaking of patience, you have been putting mine to the test lately. Did you manage to contact Kaiser and acquire what I asked for? I got killed by a roving gang of alien dudes in GTA 5 online. I have never played GTA 5. Is it fun? Like, is it actually fun doing the online stuff in GTA? I have it, sorry for the wait. He gave me this card, apologies for keeping waiting. She retrieves the envelope from you. What's important is that you have it. Did he give you trouble? I had to retrieve a bottle for him. Wine shop? Code phrase that degenerate pest. She's visibly agitated but calms down and smiles at you. Don't worry about it, I'll make sure that whatever Kaiser had you do, it'll blow over. She opens the envelope and looks at the card. You notice the same lettering you saw on the Kaiser's note from before, but can't see the details. Her eyes widen. We're friends in a private server. Oh, I see. So, no role-playing. I have heard that the most fun is when they roleplay. Like, there is a police guy who is actually doing the police stuff and stuff like that. Oh, sorry guys, I pressed the button. Excellent, I need to call in some favors. I will likely be busy for the next few nights. You have my permission to show some initiative, my dear Charge. I will contact you soon. Yeah, that's modded server, fun as heck. Oh, that's so cool. I'm glad that you had fun with friends. With that, Sophie ushers you outside and you are left to do with the rest of this night's hours as you like. So, I can go and talk to this one. Upon returning to your haven, you find a small scrap of paper lying on your window. Still need a favor. If you're still up for it, come meet me in a Prospect Town. So, we have options, guys. We could do that, the drunk, annoying Chelion pulling you over 5 minutes. First time meeting Chelion and we'll get along. Chelion is a very cool dude. You can follow his channel, he's streaming semi-regularly. I kinda want to do this one. Once again, you cross the gate of Prospect Park and head straight for where you last saw the feral duo. Wait, what? Thank you, Flimbly. Can you do the same? I follow him already. Awkward. So awkward. Once again you cross the gate of Prospect Park and head straight for where you last saw the feral duo. Minutes pass, finding no sign of Tamika, you begin to worry that something might have happened to her. Charlie, with that fire. Suddenly you hear rustling coming from the nearby bushes, and it's not the stray cat kind of rustling either. Tamika? I'm never on Twitch anymore, I'm sorry, Chalion. The rustling stops, if only for a second. Suddenly the bushes part and Raoul walks out, desperately trying to look confident. You wish. I wish. Forgiven. Nice. Guys, high five. Do the high five. And follow Flimbley. And follow Endless. You guys should follow everyone. Listen, I wanted to have a word before Tam gets here. She seems to like you for whatever strange reason, but the way I see it, you're a nuisance at best. At worst, you're a threat. You don't like it. Yeah. Forgive me if I don't lose any sleep over it. You should, because when I don't like someone, I do something about it, and it's usually not pleasant. Tamika is my sister, in every sense of the word that counts. Anything happens to her that I find even remotely your fault, I'm coming after you. Is that clear? Crystal, now fuck off. Yeah, just wanna make sure we understand each other. I have an idea for my channel. You will do a high five comment. So the streamer that I really liked and watched a lot when I started streaming, she was giving high fives to everyone, like someone was following, she was like high five for you, and when something good happened she was like high five, and she was like giving the best high fives. She's still pretty cool, but I don't watch her anymore because I got kinda salty with her. All of a sudden the sound of footsteps reaches your ears. It's just faint enough to not be ostentatious, but still loud enough to hear. You can tell that whoever's approaching wants to make their presence known. Both you and Raoul turn just in time to see Tamika emerge from behind an old sycamore tree. It's hard to tell just how long she's been listening in on your conversation. In any case, she walks up and speaks, addressing no one in particular. Sounds better than everyone spamming trash bags in mine. Feels bad, man. Someone types in, you just hear slap hands. Also, have you seen the trailer for Assassin's Creed Valhalla? So, speaking about the trailer, it looks really cool. I like the visuals, I like the Viking vibe, I like the Viking TV show, the game vibe, basically. I like how the character looks. I like the music, I like the colors, everything is great. I like even the idea that the gameplay is changed and you will have your Viking village. If you didn't know this, I'm telling you now, you will have your Viking village, and the goal of the game is to raid British islands and get money to expand your Viking village. Like, that's the goal of the game apparently. So you're not like exploring a huge map because for whatever reason. Your goal is to expand that Viking village and make like Viking country, which is cool. But the problem is they will add that fucking stupid assassin plot to it, and they will try to explain why he has that dagger, and they will tell me that Odin originally was not god of like Nordic whatever, he was like alien who gave them the apple, blah 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 blah. And then when I'm out. Because somehow they will have to explain why he's an assassin. I'm hype. Yeah, it looks really cool actually. The trailer looks really cool. You had bases to upgrade before too? Yes, Flimbley, I know. You upgrade your city in like second one already, I think, right? In second one you have that like city in Italy, right? That you explore. Your brother's worried about you. He seems to think I'm about to influence. Oh. In an instant her voice goes from mockingly sweet to stern and unyielding. Okay, well, being involved in Norse paganism is not something people know about me. If they don't get it right, I'll wig out. How much of involvement is that? I forgot the sarcasm emote. Motorregione. See? I remember stuff. So apparently that's what you're doing. Sure, I will also play it. But the thing is that the like Viking simulator part will be cool, but the story part will not. And I just have a feeling that this game could be great, like the greatest game of them all. But it will be somewhere in the middle. Is that true, Raoul? You think I can take care of myself? God damn it, Tam, that's not what this is about, and you know it. I know, big brother, you meant well, you always mean well. Ah, screw it, why do I even bother? And with that, Raoul takes his leave. Tamika waits in silence just long enough to make sure he can no longer hear her and addresses you. I have a favor to ask. For you, anything. She raises an eyebrow. Anything, I'm careful, I might keep you to that. I mean it. The look of genuine surprise washes over her face. She blinks as if trying to revert to her default resting bitch face setting. Like considering it a religion but practicing modern Norse paganism because obviously sacrificing people and animals is frowned upon. Are you like one of these people in Midsommar? Have you seen that horror movie? Are you like one of those but without killing people? I'm joking, obviously. Nope. I have an errand to run. I was hoping you'd come with me. There's a place east of here. It's a short walk. We should be back in about 2, maybe 3 hours. 3 hours? You call that short? Hype for new games like Assassin's Creed, but I'll probably play it when I get around to it. Why do you think I don't have streams regularly anymore? Oh my god. I don't know. They have to stick to AC brand name because it sells additional 10 million of copies of the game only because it's called AC. They will stick to it, so stick to weird alien lore. I know, Flimbley, and that makes me a little bit sad. What if they would make like a Far Cry Valhalla? Just call it Far Cry Valhalla. I'm too busy. Oh, okay, endless. 3 hours, huh? You call that a short walk? Is it something that you decided on, or is it like from your parents? Sorry, I'm used to much longer distances than that. I forgot not everyone is. Then it'd have to be first-person view then. I'd be fine with that. I'm used to much longer distances than that. I forgot not everyone is. You think you can handle it? Sure. Let's go. Well, alright. And so you head toward the parking lot accompanied by a Tamika and a lot of unanswered questions. Following Tamika directions, you finally arrive at the Evergreen Cemetery, one of the oldest burying grounds in Brooklyn. And instead of being eaten by dogs or mammoths, you're being eaten by bears. Apparently you have like polar bear in DLC or something, or like pre-order bonus. You have a bear that follows you or something. You enter through the southwestern gate and follow your companion through the Sea of Tombstones, which kind of makes sense because I think you have like a puma or panthera or a bear in Far Cry 5, so they just like took that idea. I would like a polar bear mount to ride on. Oh, I would like that in real life, man. It's a nice enough place as far as graveyards. Battle bear, oh my god. He's from Russia. Like, if someone is close to having an actual battle bear, it's Flimbley. Like, they have a history of drunk battle bears. Tamika confidently presses on, swearing and weaving along a programmed path. It's clear that she's been here more than a few times. Finally, she makes a sharp left and takes a few more steps down a gravel walkway, coming to a sudden stop in front of a modest headstone. The inscription reads, Luca Santiago, beloved sister and daughter, born 1991, taken from us too soon. With her eyes fixed on the grave site, she lets out an absent-minded utterance. I need a moment alone, not long, 5 minutes at the most. You look around in search of a good spot to wait for her and pass the time. At the far end of the nearby lawn, you notice a lone bench situated under a weeping willow. Suddenly you hear voices, distant but slowly approaching. Judging by the tone and timbre, you're guessing it's a couple of teenagers out to get their late-night kicks among the dearly departed. Might be a good chance to feed. Then again, you could just pass the time walking around the area. It's actually quite nice in a dark and summer kind of way. Feeding opportunity, guys. I wanna make some sweet love to a vampire. That would be very exciting. Have you seen that one movie called I don't remember what's the name of that movie. The Dracula movie with Keanu Reeves. I think it has like a vampire sex scene when they float. Bram Stoker's Dracula, yeah, that one. Cool scene, by the way. A very similar floating sex scene is in Cube, second Cube, I think. Second Cube movie. Take your time, I think I'll go grab myself a drink. Just do it quietly, I don't want any trouble, not here. You leave Tamika alone and follow the voices. Soon enough you come upon a couple in their late teens. Best vampire movie ever is What We Do in a Shadow. I haven't seen it yet. I have to. I just didn't have an occasion. Yesterday I watched a movie called A Ghost Story with Rooney Mara and Affleck, but not Ben Affleck, the brother Affleck. I don't remember his name. It's a very indie niche movie about a ghost. And Ghost is played by a guy covered in a bedsheet, like white bedsheet. Maybe you have seen a poster for it. It was kinda interesting. Bro Affleck, yeah, the Bro Affleck, not Ben Affleck, the Bro Affleck. Judging by the thick eyeliner and their clothes consisting mostly of black leather and lace, you'd venture a guess that they'd love nothing more than to meet an actual vampire. You're happy to oblige. As you emerge from the shadows, you can feel your awe intensify. The boy and the girl watch you completely awestruck, waiting for you to approach. My uncle. Bro Affleck is your uncle, Chelion. The slightest gesture is enough to shoo the boy away. He sits on a nearby bench and watches completely unarmored as your lips press against the girl's neck. It's a weird sensation to feel actual honest-to-God pride in a victim's blood, but you are here. She's glad to have been chosen in this way. You decide there's no good reason to discriminate and also take a sip from the guy. His BO is pretty terrible, but the taste of his blood isn't half bad. Hoping the teens post-kiss days will make your face just an impression in their memory, leave them on the bench just as they let their excited hormones run wild and start making out furiously. Oh my god. You half expect Kadir to materialize sword in hand to deal with these loose ends, or with you for leaving them to roam like you did. You'll need to be more careful in the future. Finally, you get back to the tree and find Tamika sitting on the bench. Without a word, you sit next to her. You look over to her, doing your best not to stare as she looks down, crossing her arms and putting her hands on her shoulders. In an instant, the ferocious savage disappears, replaced by a vulnerable young woman. Jesus? Who's Jesus? What happened? I think I'm done. Do you feel like sharing? No, but I guess I owe you an explanation. She looks away. You can tell she's struggling to open up to you, so you remain silent, trying not to make her uncomfortable. I was embraced not far from here, in the cemetery, a fitting spot, I suppose. It was close to a decade ago. I'd been on the road for a couple years at that point, hitchhiking from one town to another. New York was supposed to be just another stop. And then I met Jezebel. She was strong, smart, independent, seemed like someone I could trust, someone I could get close to. She never made me feel inadequate or ashamed, and she could hold her own in a fistfight too. Massive furious makeouts, sheesh, after some neck nibbling. Have you seen a single episode of True Blood? You wouldn't be surprised if you have. Funny thing though, she only wanted to meet drink night time. I didn't think much of it. Nope, I'm a weeb. I don't remember now any anime with sexy vampires. I didn't think much of it, even came up with excuses for her busy, eccentric, whatever worked, until one night she sunk her teeth into my neck. At least you know your sire. Can't say the same for myself. For a brief moment she looks at you with genuine sympathy. I'm sorry. She then looks away, as if slightly embarrassed by her own reaction. Anyway, she left soon after turning me. I think the Conclave of Prague really shook her up. Conclave of Prague? Sexy vampires. If you know any anime with sexy vampires, then, you know, DM me. Prague. It's a city in Central Europe. It was supposed to be neutral ground, a good place to discuss politics and strategy. It ended up almost turning into a civil war. Rosario X Vampire is the only thing that comes to mind at the moment. Oh my god, what's the... there is this old anime called like Trinity Blood or something like that, or Blood Trinity, about vampires in the future and Vatican fighting each other, and there's this like vampire who is actually not drinking human blood but drinking blood of other vampires, and that's his superpower, that the only way he can feed is to drink other vampires. So everyone is afraid of him, and he's like a good boy. Yeah, when I was younger, I was watching that, and it was amazing when I was younger. And it has this like steampunk vibe a little bit. I think it's called Trinity Blood. Kizu Monogatari also, I think. I have never seen any of the Gatari stuff. There's so many of them, and then every time I think about them, I feel overwhelmed and I don't know what to do. And I just don't watch them. Trinity Blood is steampunk, if I'm right. Yeah, they have like... I think some steampunk stuff in them. Bakemonogatari is the first one? I think? Or am I wrong? I don't know. Next thing you know, the Anarchs were expunged from the Camarilla. All they had done for our kind, the blood they spilled, it didn't amount to a thing. I can't blame Jezebel for feeling betrayed, but yeah, even though I still had Raoul and Luca, I was still furious and terrified. Luca died a few years later, Operation Lights Out. Operation Lights Out. Vampire Hunter D is a classic, and I don't think Vampire Hunter D is actually Japanese. I think it's Korean, but I might be wrong. Or maybe Blood is Korean? No, Vampire Hunter D is Korean, right? Her family got together, bought up a plot and buried an empty casket. Is Japanese? Or maybe there are like two versions of that? Jabronis. There is also an anime called Blood Brothers. I think that's also about vampires. Can follow them that. Even though she's not really here, I like to come and visit from time to time. It reminds me of who I am, keeps me in check, keeps the beast at bay. Wait a second, I will Google this because I'm like 100% sure that maybe I'm Korean anime. Vampire Hunter Korean anime. So what am I thinking about if that's not Vampire Hunter D? I don't know. I remember I had some sort of like DVD. But I enjoyed Priest with Paul Bettany. Oh, maybe the manga Priest is Korean. Or is it like manhwa or something? The Priest with Paul Bettany is such a weird post-apo movie. Also, this being the place of embrace, you have to appreciate that level of irony. She straightens up and looks at you as if something just occurred to her. Sorry, I don't know what came over me. 1 minute I'm all grants and stars, the next I'm giving you my biography. I guess I'm just tired of being scared alone. You don't have to be, you're looking for a place to belong. In all the wrong places, it seems. At this point, I'm just looking for something to believe in, someone I could give a damn about. You have Raoul. She's smiling sadly. Will I? Don't get me wrong, Raoul is my brother, the bond between us is not easily broken, but he's got ideas and ambitions of his own. He won't always be there to watch my back. I can't expect that of him. You open your mouth, but before you can make a sound, I make a motion at you to keep quiet. She lifts her head and sniffs at the air. Ovari no Seraph? I haven't seen that one. Does Castlevania considers to be anime? I don't know. Suddenly she pushes you with all her strength, sending you flying off the bench. Before you even... Also, guys, Helsing. Obviously, sexy vampires, Helsing. Like, my name on Twitch is from Helsing, the most sexy vampire anime and manga ever made, by the guy who drew hentai stuff before he became famous after drawing Helsing. Like, oh my god. I'm like, I don't know any sexy vampire anime. Not at all. Like, what? Of course, Helsing. I didn't really like Helsing. Fun fact about Helsing, and this is actually true, from volume to volume, her breasts are getting bigger. Like, that's a fact. Like, even the author was laughing at it. He's like, guys, like in volume 5, I just draw them so big. Yeah, Kohta Hirano is the guy. He also do the drifters, yes. Before you even hit the ground, an immense shape flies into view and smashes down into the bench, splintering it into pieces. Guys, someone is attacking us! With the blood surging through your veins, you pounce onto your feet. You look at the mass of fur and muscles that you just nearly pulverized through. The creature rears. Its head gives you a deranged stare. It then turns to a Tamika. She seems utterly terrified, frozen in place, as if she literally just saw a ghost. You notice the creature shifts its weight, as if preparing to pounce. Quote, maybe dying is not a bad idea, honestly. No, we can't die, guys. With your reflexes greatly enhanced, you're able to get over to Tamika and push her out of the monster's way. You both land safely on the grass, while the beast flies through the air and smashes face first into a marble headstone. The creature then turns towards you. For a second or two it moves its mouth awkwardly, as if trying to remember how to form words. Stay out my ground. It's a werewolf. The creature runs off towards a nearby clearing when all of a sudden a gunshot sends it rumbling onto the ground. A group of well-armed men in bloody armor emerge from the shadows in an orderly formation and move in closer around the creature. Retreat and hide. Of like a D&D session. Because this is based off RPG system, like yeah, so it has to remind you of a session, like RPG session. What was the name of that system? Werewolves and vampires are enemies, true. Not sure what to make of what's happening, you figure it's best to get out of sight. As you start backing away into the nearby bushes, you notice Tamika following your lead. From the relative safety of the thick foliage, you watch in silence as the group of armed men subdue the creature using steel nets and cattle prods. In the corner of your eye, you catch Tamika looking away as if she finds this whole spectacle somehow distasteful. She speaks under her breath, her voice shaking. Can we get out of here? You see no reason to object. The walk back turns out to be a quiet and somber experience. You both walk in silence, the city a blur of lights and cars carrying by? You look over to Tamika, she seems lost in her thoughts. Finally, you decide to break the silence. Any idea who those guys were? They did. They spent their whole lives either training or hunting our kind. They're the Second Inquisition. It's been a while since I saw them operating in New York. I would never expected them to go after the scared one. Hell, until today, I wasn't even sure he existed. The scared one? Would you prefer to be a vampire or a werewolf? I think... What kind of werewolf? Like that kind that can turn into a wolf only during the full moon? Like that kind of sucks. Also, they can't really control themselves, right? When they are werewolves. So I think vampire. That's the only name he's known by. He's a cautionary tale for young gangrel. He's what happens when you let the beast take over. Oh, so he's a vampire, not a werewolf. I always figured him to be more of a metaphor. Seeing him in real life, it's like if Christian just happened to run into Judas Iscariot one day. It's me, guys, it's me. But without the Z and C instead of K. And seeing him hunted down by the SI, I don't know what to think. I don't even know where to start thinking. Deciding to give her some space, you spend the rest of the walk in silence. Soon enough, the familiar tree line of Prospect comes into the view. You stop by the entrance nearest to Tamika's heaven. She keeps walking without so much as a word or glance in your direction. A hunter! Hey, Deres. Cześć. How are you? She stops after several paces and turns back towards you. I'm sorry, thank you for coming with me, but now I have a lot of shit to figure out. Once I do, I'll let you know. And with that, she disappears among the trees, seeing no point in sticking around. You take your leave. And all I can do is rest again. Cześć, co tam u ciebie, Tomek? Wszystko w porządku. All is fine. Deres is asking how I'm doing. I am doing pretty well. I am excited about May as May month because good stuff will happen in May, I believe. Oh, look at that, we have more options. Oh my god, I don't know what to do. I may or may not be excited, why not? So we have, there's this sleazy reporter from a gossip magazine sniffing around Sophie's heaven. She could use your help with the problem. The Battle of the Cloisters, the tapping on the window is... I want to do the thumb thing, but also I want to, the somebody's watching me part. Because it's May. What's the meme with Justin Timberlake and May? I'm continuing the Tamika storyline. As you open the blinds, you're able to spot a small grayish bird flying off into the night. Looking down, you notice a small piece of paper on the windowsill. Prospect, ACP, Tam. Third time's the charm, you think to yourself, as you once again cross the gate of Prospect Park and head to Tamika Heaven. The month of undecidability, and only one Terry, hey man! And only ones shown in the video games are vampires. True. True. White Wolf has so many games in the universe. True. True. How are you guys? There are others like Werewolf appears. To your surprise, you find her out in the open, sitting on the lawn, surrounded by a host of woodland creatures, birds and squirrels mostly. The creatures each patiently await their turn as she flicks seeds at them. It looks almost whimsical in a twisted sort of way. You wanted to see me? Yeah, I did. She scatters the remaining seeds onto the grass and hops to her feet. I've been doing some digging. The Inquisition has a safe house up in Manhattan. I think that's where they keep him. The scarred one, I mean. Terry, how are you doing? Good to see you. But there are no changelings or mummies. There is... How do you know all of that? Do you have the books? Can you give them to me? I would like to have a Vampire the Masquerade book. Oh, Wikipedia. Okay. I want to pay them a visit, kill that thing and as many of those SI bastards as I can along the way. Isn't that a breach of the Masquerade? Yeah, and that's the least of our worries. Throw in a legion of armed goons standing in our way and an all-powerful vampire at the cherry on the top. That's an interesting book title. Look, I'm not stupid. I know it's risky as hell, and I'm well aware I might not be coming back. Still, it's something I have to do, with or without your help. Looks like I don't have a... yeah. But I can't just sit around while you're getting yourself killed, so yeah, I'm going with you. So am I. He emerges from the shadows, a mere few feet away from you. Son of a gun, finally managed to sneak up on you. Tamika eyeballs him as he gets closer. You've seen that look before. She's clearly asserting her position, but this time it comes of a formality rather than actual challenge. How long have you been there, Raoul? Long enough. I'm still not buying that whole scarred one bullcrap, but taking a bite out of the Inquisition collective ass is just too good to pass up. I want in. Believe it or not, call it the scared one center or the tooth fairy, just know that it's very real and very dangerous. Fine. Consider me fairly warned. Now, can we move this along? I'm itching to kill some SI fucks. Tamika, you got an opinion? Heck, guess I know who the alpha is around here. He should come with us. He's got the right to be here to see the scarred one with his own eyes. Plus, my brother can be a pain in the ass, but he's one of a hellbiter. There you go, Tom's seal of approval. It's settled then, let's go. Fucking finally. And with that you leave the relative safety of Prospect Park, stealing yourself for things to come. I hope we don't die. As you get closer to your destination, you get the sneaking suspicious that Tamika been pulling your leg. Following her lead, you take a turn from Broadway into Fort Tryon Park. It doesn't seem to make sense, you think to yourself. There's only one spot between here and the Hudson River, but it can be, can it? Sure enough, as the stone facade of the cloisters comes into view, Tamika motions at you to keep out of sight. How the hell is this well-known tourist trap a hideout for a second Inquisition? Ricky Martin, you can do that. The cloisters? Seriously? That's the Inquisition safe house? Talk about hiding in plain sight, huh? This place used to be a lot of things, now it serves as a staging ground for the Inquisition. If my sources are to be trusted, and they usually are, they brought him here for what they call processing. Doubt they keep him here for long, though if you wanna get to him, it's now or never. As if on cue, a group of armed guards walk out of the museum, pushing a gurney with a large steel container on top of it. As they wheel it out in the open, a truck approaches. The operative starts preparing to load the crate onto the vehicle. You scan the area trying to take a head count. Tamika beats you to it. I count at least 7, probably more inside. We should do this quietly and take them one by one. Raoul frowns. I see we go in guns blazing, figuratively speaking. If there's more inside, let them come. The more the merrier. Raoul, this is such a stupid idea, Raoul. Let's try the stealthy approach. We should get in quietly, take them out one by one. Tamika nods in silence. Fine, then let's do this already before you two bore me to final death. You split up, aiming to cover as much ground as possible, sticking to the shadows. You advance, keep track of one another's progress. You hardly even notice as Tamika takes out the first guard. Not a peep out of him. Trying to keep up, Raoul kills the one that you left. He's sloppy. Takes his sweet ass time bleeding the gut out. So my problem is that we are a vampire like 5 days or 6 or something like that, and at the beginning we had issues with that girl that we killed by accident when we fed on her, and now the guy is like, fuck it, let's go kill like 20 people from the Inquisition. Like he forgot all about it. With his dying breath, the man lets out a yelp, drawing attention of one of his comrades. With the guard fast approaching, you ponder your options. Slice his throat with your fangs. Morale compass out of the window. Yeah, he's like, well, whatever. As the guard walks by, you leap out of the shadows and use the sharpest weapon you have on you, your fangs, to slice his throat open. With his windpipe severed, he lets out a silent gargle as he expires. Carefully, you lay his dead body on the dirt. Looking to the side, you notice Joe looking back at you. He nods, looking almost semi-impressed. 3 down, 4 to go. You keep a steady pace, moving across the courtyard, picking off the guards one by one. Tamika does her part, 3 to go. Raoul gets messy again. At least this time he's quiet. With only 2 of them left, you pick one for yourself and gesture at the one of your fellow ferals to take care of the other. But Raoul's closer. Which one will you choose? Let Raoul do it? That's all the electronic keys. You can see him grinning like an idiot as he sneaks up on one of the guards. The grin soon turns out to be very fitting. Instead of dispatching the enemy quickly and quietly, or gleefully taps him on the shoulder. As soon as the guy turns around, the feral rushes him across the face. Feeling the gooey warmth of his own eyeballs on his cheeks, the man lets out a blood-curdling scream. Startled, the final guard turns towards you. As all 3 of you approach him, the dire reality of the situation hits him like a ton of bricks. Paralyzed with the fear, he keeps shifting his aim from you to Tamika to Raoul. He is severely fucked and he knows it, and since you're standing close to him, you might as well do the honors. Time for just desserts. You walk over to the quivering mess that mere minutes ago thought himself the toughest of the tough. Before he can react, you slap the gun out of his hand, lean in and smile. Hi. Half a second later, your fangs are already halfway to his windpipe. The blood tastes sour, with a hint of cowardice and regret. Could have gone out with a bang, chose to go out with a gargle. Oh well. With the SI operator taken care of, you turn your attention to the container sitting in the middle of the courtyard. Using your combined strength, you make quick work of a steel door. As you walk in, the moonlight from behind you illuminates a twisted figure huddled on the floor. It's hard to believe that the thing lying before you, beaten and tortured within an inch of its own life, is the same creature you fought back at the cemetery. What the fuck is that thing? It's what your sister warned you about, what you refuse to believe. His lips move silently as if searching for the right words. He looks to you, then turns to his sister as if waiting for a sign. For a moment, Tamika just stands there. She looks down at the scarred one, the once fearful boogeyman whose very mention could strike terror in the hearts of her tribe, now reduced to a whimpering pile of flesh. Finally, she turns to you with a look of childish innocence mixed with confusion. Then she looks back at the scarred one. You can tell she's lost. Tam, what the hell are you waiting for? Let's kill this thing and get out of here. He's right, it's what you came here to do. It's what you wanted, remember? When she turns to you again, there are tears in her eyes. For some reason, it's the most unnerving thing you could think of. Maybe I don't have to. Maybe I need to believe I don't have to. Oh my god, I don't know what to do. I kinda want to kill him, but I feel like they try to make me feel this way, and I will mess up if I kill him. What then? Leave him at the mercy of the Inquisition? Talk about cruelty. Suddenly the very air around you seems to thicken. You look over to Tamika. She's not quivering anymore. She walks up to the scarred one. The pitiful creature presses itself into a corner in a desperate and futile attempt to crawl away. Without a word, she grabs the creature by the ears, sinking her claws inside of his head. She looks him dead in the eye. Her voice is surprisingly warm, almost soothing. You can rest now, brother. In one fluid motion, she twists his neck off his shoulders. The snapping sound is both sickening and satisfying. The empty husk of once fearful beast falls to the floor like a slab of meat. Jesus, damn, what the hell was that? Closure. Standing outside the steel container, the 3 of you take a moment to gather your thoughts. You look at one another, at the blood staining your hands, clothes and faces. In the pale moonlight, it appears black and shiny like a fresh ink stain on a fresh sheet of paper. Without another word, you head back towards the city lights. The journey back takes longer than it did in the other direction. With bits and pieces of the Second Inquisition still stuck to your clothes, you decide to play it safe by taking the back alleys and cutting through the darker corners of the city. Tamika stays several steps ahead, both you and Rome are quite content to follow her lead. You can tell that these last few nights have taken a toll on her, but not necessarily in a bad way. She seems stronger, somehow confident, more in tune with herself. Soon the awkward silence proves unbearable enough that you're willing to risk making small talk with Raoul. Small talk with Raoul. You think she made the right choice back there? Fuck if I know. Maybe it's not a question of right or wrong. Our lineage, we have a special relationship with the beast. We can either let it control us or become attuned to it. It's a constant struggle marked with difficult choices. I think Tam just made one of them. Pondering what you've just heard, the rest of the trip barely registers. To your surprise, you suddenly find yourself back at the prospect. Tamika keeps walking. She strides through the park gate like a queen of old, returning after a victorious conquest. You want to call out to her, but Raoul stops you with a gesture. Not yet, give her some time to process all this shit. She'll let you know when she's ready. And hey, you did alright. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're still an asshole, but yeah, thanks. Nice. He smiles at you, wonders never cease. See you around. And with that, he follows in his sister's footsteps. A weird smile creeps onto your face as you melt into the New York night. We did good, and we have other options now. We can go to this guy who is like religious, or we can figure out that somebody's watching me. Like, I am curious who is watching us. Someone is following you around, has been for a few nights, maybe longer. That can be a good thing. The only question is what to do about it. Oh, we have options. I kinda want to tell Sophie about that. This is clearly something more serious than what you can figure out on your own. You have to ask Sophie for help. She must have experience with all kinds of stalkers, invisible or not. You make your way to Sophie's apartment, feeling watched the whole way. It would be better if you could shake the tail, but something tells you that's impossible. A ghoul lets you into Sophie's apartment. You're not sure how many servants she has, but their servility creeps you out. Does vampire blood do that to people, or is it just Sophie's personality? The ghouls tell you that Sophie is not in and bids you to wait in the living room. You do as discreet, settling down on the sofa. As you sit contemplating Sophie's decor, you feel strange, as the feeling of being followed on the street never really left you. You don't have time to think more of this, because Sophie strides in clearly in a good mood. If it is my favorite stray, am I imagining it, or have you started to dress a little better? You stand up, too worried to waste time on small talk. I have a weird feeling when I go out, as someone invisible creep is tailing me. Sometimes when you're a vampire, you really have to an invisible creep tailing you. This is a cause for concern, to be sure. In fact, Sophie looks around the room, suddenly startled. I can't believe it. As Sophie stands up, ready to face whatever danger she senses, an invisible force pushes aside her servant standing in the doorway. You hear the door to Sophie's apartment open and close. Sophie sighs and settles back down as the ghoul disappears into the hallway in a vain effort to catch the stalker. I suppose I should scold you, but in a town full of Malkavians and Nosferatu, that's probably useless. Sometimes this happens. This is embarrassing. You should be careful. I'll assign one of my servants to watch your heaven. You leave Sophie's apartment, chastened and confused. If invisible orlocks or jesters can follow you anywhere, how are you supposed to stop them? Perhaps it's all part of the game that Kindred seems to play with each other. Hard to say if that makes it better or worse. Who was that? Interesting. Kadir Al-Asmai, the sheriff of New York City, is knocking at the door to your heaven. The sight comes as more than a little shocking. If he had business with you, you'd either expect to see him already inside or never see him coming at all. Yet there he is, on the other side of the peephole, patiently and politely waiting for you to let him in. You carefully unlock the door and face him in silence. Evening, may I come in? You simply stare at him. Your lack of an answer doesn't faze him, and your lack of resistance as he starts walking inside has obviously been interpreted as permission. Once inside, he starts looking around and cautiously stays by the door. Haven't really had time to make this place your own yet, have you? It feels like Langley. Card sword this time. You wish. Through and through, as Secluded study where nobody studies anything. Look at the books on this shelf, obviously meant to impress guests, not to be read. They reveal nothing about their owner, aside from the aching desire to be taken seriously as an intellectual. He picks one of them up and smirks before putting it away. The phenomenology of spirit. Next to all of this garbage poetry, we can make a bet. If she reads more than 20 pages, I owe you $50 and a gallon of blood. The kind of a place that self-protested hermits entomb themselves in to suffer. Considering how much you have to run around these nights, you probably only use it to shelter from the sun and rest, right? Even though he's obviously making an effort to come off as non-threatening, it's impossible to forget the first impression he made. You still see him as a fierce predator, trying hard not to expose his true colors. You sense a familiar fight or flight response as you struggle to find a diplomatic answer to his last question. If Kadir is bothered by your silence, he doesn't let it show. He keeps walking around, toying with whatever catches his eye. Eventually he speaks up again. Watch any baseball lately? If I had to guess, you strike me as a Red Sox fan. Now he's inviting you to talk in a more direct manner. You attempt to overcome your physical reaction to him and reply as casually as you can. I love my options here. Really good game. Let's choose the third one. Your mind keeps going back to that night when everything was changed forever. Waking up in hell with a body next to you, spending a night in that underground sweatbox, unsure of what will happen next, that endless car ride, 3 strikes, a bloodthirsty crowd, that blade, a rebirth, that blade, a rebirth, a baptism by fire, a frightening executor who made sure the flames carried your spirit. As you look into his face, you realize he's ready the emotions from yours, not in the mood to exchange pleasantries, There's no animosity in his voice, he's just stating a fact. Let me get straight to the point then. He momentarily stops caring about his surroundings, turning all of his attention to you and demanding the entirety of your attention in return. You see, there's something I've realized over the years. In large part, I may have been hired just to look menacing with a sword, but my job is all about seeing through bonds and relationships. The Camarilla would be safe as long as its members adhered to certain social contracts, making their dealings and affinities plain for everyone to see, but that obviously remains a pipe dream. This is a community of born conspirators, overly ambitious gangsters and politicians, monsters in denial, all sorts of tragically broken individuals. They are driven by desires that make them incompatible with the masquerade, incompatible with prolonged survival of the Camarilla, incompatible with the methods I used to operate. And so I am doomed to be like a cop, constantly insulted behind my back, maybe for a good reason, but immediately called for help whenever someone loses their tableware. Or like an Agatha Christie protagonist, outwardly assisted by everyone but constantly lied to about everyone's past and motivations, even if my failure to solve the mystery might be the end of us all. Oh my god, that was a long sentence. He tries to sound like he's peacefully resigned to his fate, but it's easy to detect a tang of regret in his voice. I'm making sauce for baked pasta. That's so cool. I want to make some carbonara, but I always forget to take out the chicken from the freezer. And again, I didn't do it tonight, so I won't have a chicken tomorrow, so I will not do the carbonara. What broke him? So you see for this... Yeah, carbonara with chicken. Yeah, like you put pieces of the chicken into the white sauce and put on the pasta, you know. So see for this detective the why who done it. Chicken carbonara is normal. White sauce? Isn't carbonara white? What the heck is white sauce in carbonara? What? That is, are you trolling me? What are you talking about? Carbonara sauce is eggs and parmesan. What? 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 Then I don't know, man. I don't know. When I'm done, I will like send you a picture. That's all you use for carbonara sauce. Eggs and parmesan. And some pasta water. And yes, bacon. Then I will have white sauce pasta with a chicken. But of course the Kindred know it, so they devise ways to make my job much harder, just like conspiracies between two unrelated actors that depend on scratching each other's backs for mutual security. Are you adding cream? Chicken? Maybe? I don't want to talk about it anymore. Or they enforce a blood bond to make someone expected their trail post serving their employee a rebel serving tyrant just because. Why is he telling me all of that, by the way? What has Sophie seen in you? Why does the prince keep asking me about your actions? How come you're being pushed to build your own coterie so fast? Darius is like, oh my god, I'm sorry Darius, I didn't mean to disturb you. Okay, I'm not making a carbonara, I don't know what I'm making. I always assumed that white sauce and meat is carbonara. Like, I never actually checked what carbonara is, okay? Okay? You're making a blasphemy. You are surrounded by unclear motivations which you yourself don't understand. That unnerves me, and it should unnerve you as well. You're making a mistake, clearly. Blasphemy tastes so good. Why are you unnerve me? You've made one hell of a first impression. Finally, you managed to raise your voice. Kadir notices the effort and smiles softly. So you haven't gone mute since the last time I saw you. Good. Well, I'm here for selfish reasons. I need to develop a rapport with you to be better fulfill my obligations. The last time we met, I couldn't see you as my equal. Now what you've been accepted into the Camarilla. What choice do I have? Tasty mistake, guys. I need to drink some water, and I have a giant bottle of water, and I will do this. This whole bottle of water right now will disappear in me. That was obviously a joke, because I will not drink so much. But all that stress after talking to the respirator about the carbonara sauce. Oh my god. Chelion. The last time we met, okay, I read that one already. I'd understand if you didn't want to see my face again, but I'm one of the faces of the New York City's community, and as long as you're part of it, it's going to be impossible to avoid me. Especially when I have business with you, and I do. As you might have guessed by now, one of my tasks is uncovering and understanding your bonds, and one of them might endanger our community. You have some lobster? Where did you get lobster, man? In these desperate times, how did you get lobster? Like, everyone is like, oh my god, we don't have money, we don't have work, everyone is dying in hospitals, blah 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 blah, and there is the respirator having lobster for dinner. It was 48% off. And one of them might enter our community. I'm feeling very much alive. I see. That's where all the money gone. Well, that's not menacing at all. Who is he talking about? Someone from my coterie? Kadir shakes his head. I'm monitoring them and they know it. If they're breaking the rules, they're doing it in the right way, meaning I haven't learned about it yet. Unless you might want to share something. A moment of awkward silence. Joking, mostly. He produces a file from underneath his coat and poses it to you. This is our troublemaker. You open the file and see some printed photos. You freeze up as you recognize the face and overwhelmed by a flood of repressed memories. What? My sister? The only person who's kept you hanging on the through all these years, the only person you have in your corner in your nerve-ending fight against the world. You've kept your shit together so far, tried not to think about her until you got everything sorted out, but seeing her face brings a lump to your throat. You look up at Kadir expecting answers. I'll be frank, at first I thought you were a total commercial failure, someone destined to eventually disappear from the streets of New York without a trace or one soul to care. But it looks like your sister is the best guardian one could ask for. Lots of friends in high places, lots of favors to collect. The word is she'll do anything to get you back. The risk of endangering us is relatively low, but far from non-existent, which means your sister must be stopped. Must be stopped sounds threatening. You dread thinking what's he's planning. I'll arrange for you two to meet tomorrow so that you can straighten the situation out and say goodbye to the life you've forsaken. He'll arrange. What? Your eyes must look like saucers right now. I'm not a wine guy. There is us sitting with a lobster dinner and a bottle of Bordeaux. Actually, I expected there to be like, no, Bordeaux is not a good wine for a lobster. You actually should have like a Chardonnay or something. I'm a beer guy. You don't appreciate special. Side helping a caviar and foie gras. Never to be seen again, nobody cares. It's simple, it's clean, no contrived scams, no unnecessary victims. And it gives me an opportunity to learn more about you as I observe. When neonates interact with kind they used to hold dear, their true natures are laid bare for everyone to see. Of course he's invested in being kind to you, or he's making clear his self-serving intentions so that you don't start figuring them out for yourself. Any objections? Any alternative are probably worse. You shake your head. Very well, I'll arrange a meeting and drive you there tomorrow. Better come up with a load of bull that's easy to swallow. He was rhyming. He disappears from the apartment, leaving you as confused as the last time he closed the door on you. God damn it, you need to think it through. Emma. For a long time you just sit in your heaven, lost in your thoughts, trying to come up with lies that will convince the only person who's ever seen the real you. It's been some time since what kindred historian will no doubt refer as the Battle of Cloisters. Still no word from Tamika. Maybe it's time you drop by and see how she's doing. I've never had foie gras actually, and not sure if I want to try it. Literally fatty liver. I also never had foie gras. Immediately after you enter the park, you can tell that something is wrong. An odd silence hangs in the air, like the silence from a choking victim after the fight leaves them. It doesn't take you long to find Tamika. You see her in the distance leaning against a tree. As you make your way towards her, she puts her finger to her lips. Only then you do notice the blood dripping from her side. You pick her up, letting her lean on you. She looks at you, her eyes wild with fear and rage. They're here, the Inquisition, they found us. Raoul, he drew them away, saved my ass. He's still out there. We need to go, we need to help him. You're in no shape to fight. Screw you. A jolt of pain makes her almost bend in half. I'm going. You're barely standing. I want you to get yourself killed. I'm going. You wanna stop me? Might as well kill me now. Through sheer force of will, she manages to straighten herself up. Let's fucking do this. You head deeper into the park. Soon you stumble upon a set of innocuous barriers, service vehicles, black and yellow caution tape, men in work suits that keep the civilians out of a certain area. It's illegal in Europe? It's not all, in Poland everything is legal, like you can do anything in Poland. It's not at all difficult for a creature of the night to avoid these. You'd almost think that their presence here is accidental, but once you spot Black Vans deeper in, you get a foreboding feeling. Tamika grabs your shoulder and squeezes hard. Hold up there. You have to squint to see it. Two SI scouts have taken tactical position between the trees. There's no way in hell you'd have noticed them or hid in time if Tamika hadn't alerted you. Body armor, camo, night vision goggles, rifles, and semi-auto shotguns, some equipment you can't even name. These guys mean business. There's no time. She's getting ready to just pounce on them. Consequences be damned. You need to think and fast. Take one out, leave the other to Tamika. Focusing your efforts, you hit for the nearest opponent, letting Tamika take care of the other one. Your target falls before he's able to pull a jig. A faint girl lets you know Tamika has done her part as well. You look over and see her standing over the rapidly cooling corpse of the soldier. She flicks her wrist, sprinkling the grass under her feet with the man's blood. It's a tie. All things considered, she seems to be doing alright. You keep on moving. Tamika gestures at the nearest patch of trees. Stick to the shadows, take them one at a time. Sound advice, you take it to heart as you move on towards Tamika's heaven. It doesn't take long for you to run across more of them. 3 operatives in the full riot gear are running down the park alley, sweeping the area with barrel-mounted flashlights. Keeping very still and very quiet, you wait for them to approach. Tamika watches you from the bushes nearby, clearly waiting to follow your lead. I try to take 2 of them out. As the first victim marches past, you lunge at him, sinking your teeth in his neck. In one sudden motion, you rip a chunk of flesh from his throat. Quickly, before the other 2 can react, you run at them full speed. Just as you're about to take the first one out, Tamika pounces from the side, taking him out in an instant. As soon as she lands, she springs back toward the other one. A single slash of her claw is all it takes. The man's body falls to the ground. After a second or 2, his head follows. You raise an eyebrow at Tamika. She hits back with a roguish grin. 2-1. No time to savor your victory. A savage yell rings out from across the tree line. You know that voice, Raoul. Tamika throws herself toward where it came from. It's almost unbelievable how fast she moves. In considering the state she's in, you're barely able to keep up. Mere seconds later, you find yourself under the cover of a rose bush, giving you a clear view of a nearby clearing. Off in the distance, you spot a group of gunmen converging. Slowly but surely, the circle of hunters closes in, a lone figure struggling on the ground. The figure lets out a pained roar. Looking closely, you realize it's Raoul. Caught in the same steel net you saw used against the scarred one, he struggles frantically, trying to break free. With each passing second, step by step, the operatives close in around him. Driven by instinct, Tamika jerks for... I'm sorry, guys. Tamika jerks forward to save her brother. She stops herself at the last moment as if reminded of your presence. Okay, how do we do this? Chalion, stop. Stop. I knew it. The moment I read it, I knew it. We go in fast and fierce, no messing around. Take him out as quickly as you can. She nods in approval. Sounds good. You move in like a 2-person SWAT team, staying close to the ground before you finally make your first move. The first 2 hunters meet their death. Stop. Unfortunately, and stop for the others to notice your presence, so much for the element of surprise. As 2 men towards you with their fingers already on the trigger, another to approach you, stabbing at the air with cattle prods. Attack the gunmen. Prioritizing long-range attackers, you make quick work of them, slashing both of their throats before they can fire. Meanwhile, Tamika does her share as swiftly avoids the cattle prods and moves in for the kill. 4 bodies hit the ground, 2 vampires are still standing. You both turn towards the last remaining foe. Driven by sheer desperation, the surviving soldier stands over Raoul and aims his semi-automatic shotgun at his head. Tamika glows. You gesture at her own to stand down. There's no room for mistakes here. Looks like your number's up. Might as well give up. Don't make it worse for yourself. And did you attack the gunman? I did. Turtle. Welcome. Hi. How are you doing tonight? There it is. With shaking hands, the gunman looks at you. Then Tamika, as if warning you not to come any closer. It's mostly for show. He's fucked and he knows it. Suddenly, you notice his muscles relax as if he's made peace with the inevitable. You hear Tamika scream. She notices it as well. Struggling to lift his head, Raoul looks into Tamika's eyes. Take care, sis. No! Oh my god, they killed him! Raoul's body collapses under the weight of the steel net, his head a gaping hole. Before either of you can react, the operative puts a barrel under his chin and pulls the trigger. Another shot. Another body hits the ground. You turn to your companion. She seems utterly lost, like a child failing to comprehend what has just happened. I think we messed up again. Falling to her knees, Tamika lets out a yell unlike any you've ever heard. It's as if she's been possessed by some wailing spirit. A banshee screaming out in the sky. Her scream echoes across the clearing until finally it all goes quiet. With tears streaming down her face, she looks up at you. It's my fault. I put us in their sides. If it wasn't for me, he'd still... Clenching her fist, she pounds the ground in frustration. Fuck. Come on, we need to get out of here. This isn't over yet, more will be coming. She gets up, a violent shiver runs. I'm tired and hot. I did landscaping after work. I'm so happy I didn't miss the whole stream. You are close to the end, actually. Like, very close. But I'm happy to see you, Turtle. Also, if you have missed previous streams, I am actually recording all of that and putting on YouTube. So, from now on, I think every stream or every like a story-driven game will be on YouTube. So, if you want to watch it, you can. Not only on Twitch. Also, follow, subscribe, and like the videos. I have 6 subscribers now. What if I don't want to watch it? Then you won't. Link. Smash the like button. Wait a second, I will give you a link. I didn't make a comment yet, but I put the thing on the Twitter. Where is my... Because I made an unboxing video, guys. Like a book unboxing video. Because I bought some books and I was like, huh, I will just, you know, open the package. No, we will never talk about carbonara again. This never happened, okay? Unboxing. Click the bell. Yes, to get the notifications, right? She gets up, a violent shiver runs through her entire body, as if she is literally trying to shrug off her despair. When she looks at you again, she seems far more clear-headed. Right, let's get out of here. Hastily, yet carefully, you make your way out of the park. You don't stop until you reach a nearby alleyway. There, in the relative safe of the surrounding darkness, you take a moment to rest. Leaning against the wall, Tamika presses her hand onto her wound. Fighting off the pain, she looks up at you. Let's split up, less attention. Hunters, spotters on the rooftops. You need help. I know a guy, I will be fine. Knowing when it's time to follow, you nod and head towards the far end of the alley. After several steps, you look back to see how Samika doing. You smile, nothing her absence. Having managed past a couple blocks without incident, you thank your lucky stars and blend into the nightly New York crowd. Hopefully Tamika's made it as well. Okay, and we rest. Also, the first 10 seconds of that video, camera didn't work for some reason, so... My friend has a YouTube channel, and his YouTube channel has 1180 subscribers, so the goal is to get like 1200 subscribers. Like, I need to have more than him. Like, that's the goal, guys. I feel like 60% of the time my complaining is justified. Jesus, fuckish, how thick is that book? It's like 900 pages. It's pretty thick. But the fun part is that I'm like picking one up and then I'm taking another one and it's also that thick, and then I'm taking the third one and it's also that thick. That was funny. Knock knock, you'd ask who's there, but you don't know if the sheriff of New York City would play along. When you open the door, you see him toying with the car keys he's holding in his hand. Ready to go, flailing? You don't feel it like it, but you give him a nod nevertheless. Excellent, stay close. He leads you down to the vehicle he's parked nearby. Once again, he takes the wheel, literally and figuratively. Everything inside is just the way you remember it, down the rear window. I think Robert Jordan likes doing thick books. I think so. But they are pretty good looking books, by the way. However, the trip itself feels notably different. The last time Gatir drove you around, he was forcibly dragging you away from your old life. This time he's pulling you back into it. Let me tell you how it's going to go. As I said, I've arranged a meeting between you and your kin. It's going to take place somewhere you should know very well. I'll watch over you two from a safe distance to make sure you adhere to the rules. You should know those very well, but I'll reiterate just so you can't ever say I didn't warn you. Don't do anything that would violate the masquerade. Don't establish some secret rows of contact. I will know. Do treat it as the last time you two will meet. Take this chance to wrap everything up. Here's your story. You're fine. Found yourself at a crossroads, decided to radically change your life and move out of the city. The subway is unbearable, the rent is too high, they've heard it all. However, you wouldn't leave for good without saying farewell to the only person who cared. He gives you a compassionate stare. It's gonna leave a scar, boy, but a true artist knows those are not something to hide but to display with a pride. You're a fresh corpse. People you meet can still leave a mark on you. One night, a long time from now, you realize you miss collecting new wounds. The car makes a sudden turn. I leave the finer details to you. Just be so kind and don't make me regret it. You can sense he's going out of his way for you, but doesn't try to force you into gratitude by stating it plainly. If you know, you know. He'll see if you are worthy of his aid. We are here. You take a look around and recognize your destination. He was right. It is a familiar place. It's right next to that exhibition space, the one where you met your future sire. This is where you saw Emma for the last time. This is where they last saw poor Lamar. Who knows whatever might happen to him? That's what your sister is trying to find out. I took the liberty of messaging her in your stead. She's up there waiting for you to come up and explain yourself. He turns off the engine and relaxes comfortably in his seat. You silently leave the car and head straight for the exhibition space. The elevator ride up just doesn't seem to end. After what feels like 5 hours, but in reality is closer to 30 seconds, you finally reach your floor. Hi, sister. Guys, I need more water. We will finish soon after the conversation with the sister because my throat is dying slowly. Em is standing there, looking at the paintings. She's trying to act. She's gonna be at the toilet all night? What? Why? Because I drank a little bit of water? Onto her back a little too tightly. When she hears your footsteps, she's startled. Then she sees you, and her eyes immediately fills with tears. She runs up to you and gives you a hearty tug. God damn it, Lamar, god damn it. You stay in her arms, silent, for a little while. The bonds of blood run deep. This feels right. You're so cold, what happened to you? You look into her eyes and start searching your heart for a lie that would satisfy her, if only a little bit. I love you. So you see, I met this man, and he was interested in art I make, and he was from the other side of the world. You stop mid-sentence. It's perfectly obvious that you're not exactly telling the truth, and her expression makes it obvious that she knows. What happened, Lamar? Talk to me. All the life-saving work she sent your way, from that concept artist job to this very exhibition, I've been losing my mind. Talk to literally everybody I know to ask when the last time they saw you was. All of the times she helped you get your shit together. I've always been honest with you. The least you can do is return the favor. She has, and she obviously deserves to know, but she can't. Kadir is waiting downstairs. Lamar! Her voice startles you. Your first instinct is to run. And like the beast you've become, you trusted. Lamar? You can't do this. Not now, not like this. She watches as you kindred and the nine creatures of the night zoom away from her. Run into the elevator and press the ground floor button. What? I don't like it because they didn't even give me a choice. Or maybe because I lied? Like, maybe because I made a choice? This might be the last time you ever see each other. At least look her in the eye and force yourself to tell her one last thing. I'll send you a message. Don't search for me. For your and my own good. Sliding. DM me on Discord sometime, I'll tell you how to make carbonara. Okay, that is okay. You find your own priorities disgusting, but what gets you down the most is not the fact that you failed to give closure to the only person you cared about. It's more that you failed to make this farewell beautiful. It makes you feel like a failure of an artist. Even with all this newfound power, you still can't express yourself through the canvas of your life. You're still stuck in your old ways. But you know Em, she'll take the pain you've caused her and use it to make the art that resonates, that sells. What if authentic trauma is the best gift you could find to repay all her generosity? Yeah, giving someone trauma is the best gift, guys. Jesus Christ, you're disgusting. If you consider all of those emotions commodities, no wonder you're a failure as an artist. The elevator door opens. Better run while she's still up there. Back to Kadir's car. Once you close the door, he instantly puts his foot on the gas pedal. Walking off the pitch with no regrets, said everything you had to say. Kadir sighs. Yeah, that's what I gathered from here. I'll keep an eye on the situation. Placate her somehow if she won't stop looking. I've got some well-tested methods, not violent, of course. He gives you a good stare via the rear view window. You're an artist, aren't you? You nod half-heartedly. So you of all people should know that things never work out the way you plan. There could always be more time to plan. Tools that could help you execute it better. Perfection is just an accident. The only thing you can do is give it your best shot given the circumstances and immediately move on to the next thing. When all is said and done, regret is nothing but narcissism and waste of time. Sophie, your coterie, those are the materials you've been given and they're potent ones. Make the best use of them so that they might create something more beautiful than your artist tool ever did. And as a side note, I envy you. I wish I still had someone to make me knees feel like a jelly. Even when you can't see them anymore, just knowing they're there keeps you in touch with what you once were. The car speeds up to cross an intersection before the light turns red. You give Kadir a good hard look. Thank you. It doesn't feel like a, how do you call it, very vampire thing to say, but you say it nevertheless. He's visibly taken aback, and his usually furrowed brow smooths out for a moment. Then he takes on a serious, slightly sorrowful expression. Don't suck up to me, kid. Mr. Bad Guy is still here, and without a doubt he will go back to decapitating suckers like you anytime now. The car starts slowing down. You're here. You look out the window and see your heaven. Take care, I'll see you around. Just pray I don't have to see you too often. You leave the car and start walking to your heaven, thinking about Kadir. Can't say you're fond of him. What with the welcome he gave you and all, but after tonight you can't say you aren't either. You're gonna need some more time to understand him, that's for sure. So I think this is where we will finish for tonight. So let's save and exit. This was fun. We fought some Inquisition. We made friends. Lamar survived, but Raoul died. So that was very eventful. We also learned the secret of the carbonara sauce, and that I was wrong all along. And yeah, that was fun.